What's going on, family? Welcome back to the Cinema Goodness Podcast. I'm Kaheem. This is JP. What's going on, JP?
Man, I'm doing excellent. Happy New Year. I'm
Happy
to have made it into 2026.
Yeah, man. We starting off with an ending, with a finale. It's ironic, but it's a good one, man. We talking about Stranger Things series finale, the Rightside Up, Chapter 8, man. It's bittersweet. But we're on our way out, man, and can't wait to get into this episode, man. So sit back, relax, grab some popcorn. Let's get into the cinema goodness. Family, this is Kaheem.
Right.
And I'm JP.
And this is the Cinema Goodness Podcast, where we talk movies, all things related to Hollywood,
including your favorite genres and upcoming projects. Join us here for an unbiased and unfiltered discussion from our unique perspective.
So sit back, relax, grab some popcorn. Let's get into the Cinema Goodness. All right, man. Chapter 8, Right Side Up. How you feeling, man? How you feeling about it? Just
no. I was a little nervous about how it was going to come to a close. These things can either be a knock out of the park, or end up with everyone kind of feeling a little ambivalent, or even disappointed if they just don't live up to what everyone is expecting. So I feel like there was a lot of buildup and brought us here, and I think that they had one thing that I will give the show is they had an opportunity. We're going to talk about whether they did their best with the opportunity that they were given, but they had the opportunity. A lot of shows never get a chance to fully bring closure to their storylines. So this show had that opportunity. We're going to see. Y'all have watched it. I hope there will be spoilers if you're here. So if you don't want it to be spoiled, go watch the last episode. But yeah, we're going to see. I don't know. I brought some anxiety in. Now that I've watched it, I don't know if they fully took advantage of the opportunity that they were given. And that's how I feel right now.
Okay. We're going to get into why you feel that way in a little bit, but that's an interesting outlook. I'm kind of on the other side. I feel that with 2 hours, it was kind of like a film. They had a lot to tie up, but I remember that we said before that we ended the last episode, if I could walk away feeling satisfied and feel like they did their best, I'm okay with some of the answers that they didn't, some of the questions that they didn't answer. So I feel that they kind of did their best, and we're going to kind of get into all of that stuff. But yeah, you want to go ahead and kind of like lead us in, man?
So we start with the where we ended, of course, at the end of Volume 2. And essentially, there's a plan that's being hatched to break into the other dimension, Dimension X, the Abyss, to be able to rescue the children. I feel like the plan that they put together, for the most part, they were able to achieve. They were able to get up, communicate. They were able to get up the squawk tower, the radio tower. That was their biggest hiccup at the top of the tower. They were able to get 11 into the sensory deprivation tank in the Hawkins lab. What I suspected, I thought that Kylie had ulterior motives, and I was proven wrong. I don't feel like she had an ulterior motive. After it was all said and done, not a negative one anyway.
Yeah.
So that was, and I'm glad that was dispelled, that was disproven, because I think that kind of would have tainted a character that, ultimately, when she was first introduced, it was kind of like a throwaway. If y'all watched our initial recap and review of this, it felt like that whole storyline was kind of a dead end, but they did bring it back. So They bring the fight to Vecna. Vecna has some upper hand on this fighting in the mind thing, and he really gets Hopper. I mean, he gets Hopper to essentially blow a hole in their plan on their side by fighting him in the mind using his daughter. So that was one hitch in the plan there. Then, this idea that they thought the radio tower was gonna, match up with the holes coming down. I don't know what they were thinking of. Yeah. There's no way you can plan that. So, I mean, obviously the radio tower was going to be hit. In my mind, I'm thinking that they were just going to try to, get through the hole before the tower was destroyed completely. But ultimately, here's what I'm going to say, and it's before Kahim gets into his part of the review. The battle with Vecna and the Mind Flayer, it was won at 1 hour into this 2 hour finale.
Yeah.
So the battle, the fighting, it was done.
Yeah.
I'm a little disappointed in that.
You wanted a longer fight.
Here's why I say that. We have been fighting Vecna and the Mind Flayer for years. We have fought him. I feel like there were more in-depth fights, more exciting fights with this villain in previous seasons and previous episodes to the finale. So I feel like that part was anticlimactic because I was really expecting more. When I was thinking when, Vecna's, at his death's door, maybe he has one more gust to fight and he has another wind. And no, I mean, he's ended. And I literally paused it and I was like, there's an hour left. What is going to happen?
What is going to happen?
I was like, okay, what's going on here? So my mind's like, okay, I know that they have to deal with the government because the government is on the other side when they finish with Vecna. But an hour's worth, I don't know. I'm still feeling a little disappointed in that. But ultimately, the back half of the finale was about closure. It was about them dealing with the aftermath of what happened and bringing a good closure, showing us a potential future for all of the characters. And so I like that. I just don't feel like we needed an hour for that. And so that's where I feel a little let down by the finale. But other than that, I mean, it was a good finale. It has its ups and downs. Kahim, how are you feeling about it?
I can see where you're going with the battle scene. In my mind, I'm thinking they probably had more on the page than they had on the screen. But when you shooting something versus writing it, some of the pacing could change. So I do think they played it safe a little bit because I feel like in that final battle scene, somebody should have got killed. Somebody but I think they played it safe for a lot of the characters just so they can have that happy ending that Mike talked about with Elle. And I think because of that, they didn't want to kind of rob people of like somebody dying and something. They wanted people to have their happy ending. So I'm kind of conflicted about that battle scene because you're right. I did the same thing. Like when they was up there in the abyss and fighting the monster and all of that stuff happened, I'm like, dang, it's still a lot more like timeline. Like what's going to happen? And I don't know if they really thought about that. I think they was more concerned with completing the story the best that they could, kind of like finishing all the threads, pulling all the strength that they could and kind of like walking away with a sense of satisfaction. Like we have more, I think we have more answers now than questions, whereas before we had more questions than answers. So For the sake of the entertainment value, yeah, they could have added more into the fight, but as a whole, I think they was more so focusing on like ending this thing with Vecna and like letting us see a glimpse of where everybody's going to go after that, and kind of like rounding off the story. But it could have been stronger. That fight scene could have been stronger. You definitely right about that. Yeah. So. Here we go, man. Chapter 8, The Right Side Up. The 2-hour cinematic goodbye, a cosmic horror boss fight, and the ending that refuses to fully let go. The last time at Hawkins, 10 years, one basement, a lot of bikes, and tonight, Stranger Things finally closes his gate. This isn't a finale, it's a victory lap, a funeral, and a maybe she lived after it all. The Right Side Up runs 2 hours and 5 minutes, making it the longest episode in the series and essentially a feature film. It's split in half, one brutal final battle, followed by a long reflective epilogue. See this epilogue, that's what you're talking about. It's more explanation of kind of like letting us see what happened rather than the fight, because we grown with these people for last episode. I said 7 years, but it's really been 10. And I didn't even realize that it's been 10 years since the first season. So we've grown up with the characters, man, and it's a lot to kind of like see them go. It's kind of emotional, but you live and you learn. You got to learn to walk away.
Let me tell you, they went heavy on the emotion. The epilogue is emotion. Yeah, they I don't think they could have leaned harder into it. They went on. I mean, as hard as they could have taken it is how far they took it.
Yeah, for sure, man. All right, final battle, Operation Beanstalk. The plan. The group splits up one last time, echoing every previous season finale. They've done this in every finale where they split up. That's been like a Vecna's endgame was revealed in full, using 12 kidnapped children as psychic batteries to merge the Abyss, Dimension X, with Earth. The goal isn't to kill Vecna, it's to sever his connection to the children, powering the apocalypse. It's a surgical strike against God to pretending to be a man. We go to Camazotz, the Mindscape infiltration. 11 Akali and Max enter Vecna's psychic realm, Camazotz. The battlefield is eternal, symbolic, and deeply personal. Psychic combats replace brute force. Memories, illusions, emotional anchors matter more than punches. Max returns not as a victim, but as backup, fully reclaiming her agency. Kali illusions directly counter the Mind Flayer's manipulation tactics, reframing her season 2 arc as essential, not optional. Jeez, come on, Kahim. The truth about the Mind Flayer, the pain tree. They call it the pain tree.
Yeah.
Vecna's layer is revealed as a physical body of the Mind Flayer. It's not smoke. It is not a hive mind concept. It's an ancient kaiju scale alien entity from Dimension X. Now, how'd you feel about the kaiju? Because I know you into the kaiju and the big monsters and stuff. How'd you feel about that?
Let me tell you something. When I first in the, I guess this was the end of volume 2, when they showed the pain tree, I said, man, it kind of looks like a dead spider, like you spread spider with like raid or some sort of chemical to kill it. And they kind of go belly up and their legs stick up. That is how he looked. It's what it looked like. And so when it started moving, I said, oh my God, that is the Mind Flayer's body that he is controlling, essentially.
Yeah.
I listen, I love, like you said, I love kaiju. He gives me a little bit of Pacific Rim. He looks like one of the Pacific Rim monsters, but the Mind Flayer doesn't seem as powerful as he should be in that body. I think that, I mean, yes, he has the size and all of that, but with a very simple plan, with not with rudimentary weapons, they're able to completely distract, overwhelm him, and to the point that because he's made himself one, and I'm talking about Vecna making himself one with the Mind Flayer, that also derails Vecna because they are connected, and so what they're doing, with their basic weapons is enough to knock him off track so that L can, then gain the upper hand. As a kaiju, he's not very good. Okay. And I just have to be honest there. Kaijus are immensely powerful. He was weak. I counted, they had 7 people. They had a flamethrower. They had, some Molotov cocktails, and, some guns. They should not have been able to defeat the Mind Flayer with that. So for me, that was a letdown. I don't know if Vecna essentially had siphoned most of the Mind Flayer's power into himself. That may be true, since he made himself one with him. But as a kaiju, he's not very good.
Yeah. Fair. Flashbacks reveal that as a child, Henry Krill was affected by this entity, glowing rock hidden in the briefcase. We finally know what's inside the briefcase. It's a glowing rock. And I'm thinking this glowing rock is the actual Mind Flayer, or is it part of the Mind Flayer? Something like that. I'm still kind of unsure about that. It reveals that Vecna was never the mastermind. He was groomed, shaped, and used by the Mind Flayer. The real villain of Stranger Things is finally unmasked. It's cosmic, indifferent, and ancient. This piece of rock. So this goes back to my question about the kaiju, right? Was that piece of rock a part of the kaiju thing, or was it like a piece of energy, or because you saw it go inside his hand and kind of start talking to him in his mind. So I wonder if that's where his power is, in the psychic manipulation, or is it not so much his physical strength, but mental strength, how he manipulates people's mind. So that's kind of some questions that I did have. Did Henry have powers before this rock, or did the rock give him powers to make him, powerful like that, to move things with his mind? All of these questions, I don't know if they fully explain, and it's kind of ambiguous. We walk away with something I kind of get it, but I'm not really sure. You know what I'm saying?
Here's what I can say. And this goes back to one of our earlier reviews in season 5. They are pulling information from the first Shadow play.
Okay.
And if you don't know what happened in that play, they're taking some things and then they're kind of modifying them to a degree. But the first Shadow play, essentially what he encounters from that briefcase. Now it looked like a rock in the show, in the finale, but I think it was described more like a piece of technology that was stolen from a lab. Either way, it connected him and brought him to Dimension X, and Dimension X is his exposure to Dimension X is what gave him his powers and made him unique. So they're taking bits and pieces. Okay. Some of it they're explaining, some of it they're not. If you watch the play, I think you probably caught on to all of it because that's kind of where it's coming from. They don't explain in the show that it's when he comes into contact with that. What they had to do is it was like the Mind Flayer talked to him and said, "Come find me." And then there's a scene where you can see him. It almost looks just like when L sent him when he was an adult to Dimension X.
Right.
He was a kid in this instance. So this is after the rock touched his hand and it kind of melted into his hand, and then you see him kind of transported to Dimension X. So from the play, that's essentially what happens. He's exposed to this. and that's his first time going to Dimension X, and being in Dimension X is what gives him all of those powers, and that is when he's also exposed to the darkness there, which is the Mind Flayer, and then he comes back. So here's what I'll say. I feel like it's a piece of the Mind Flayer, whatever it is. So that's how they're presenting it in the finale. It's like a piece of the Mind Flayer. That's why when it comes into contact with him, it melds into him. Then the scientist, who isn't dead just yet, is like, don't get into it. It's gonna consume you completely. And it's at that point that you have Will, in his mind.
Yeah, seeing everything.
Don't give into it. Don't, he's using you. He used you as a vessel. Essentially, all the stuff that we saw Vecna saying he was going to do to those kids, Will is like, this is what the Mind Flayer did to you.
Right.
You were his first.
We're the same. You like me.
Exactly. We're the same. And so that's when Henry is like, no, I decided to give into it because our world was broken and we are one. And so he was unable to pull him back from the brink to fight the Mind Flayer. And I think this is probably my biggest disappointment, and I'm glad you brought the kaiju question up because it plays into it. When we were talking about this before, and this is even before I knew about the play, because I haven't seen the play, I just have read about it online.
Mm-hmm.
I always felt like there was a bigger bad beyond Vecna.
Right.
It wasn't clear if Vecna was the main villain, or was there someone more powerful than him. And so when we come to this, where the show fully introduces the fact that the Mind Flayer pre-existed him, essentially the Mind Flayer gave him the abilities that he has and put it into his blood, which of course allowed them to do the experiments in the real world and create copies, essentially.
Yeah.
He shouldn't have been defeated so easily. That's a disappointment for me, because if the Mind Flayer is the big bad, who's the origin of this, he's an ancient being of immense power, why is it that he was defeated so easily?
Yeah.
And I understand that they wanted to bring all the closure, and I even asked for it in a part of our end of our last review. I wanted to have closure. I didn't need an hour of closure.
Yeah.
What I was expecting was that they were going to defeat Vecna and then come to the realization that now that they're in Dimension X, the Mind Flayer is more powerful, and that it's going to require all of them to fight together to defeat him. So that's where my disappointment is, because I feel like that was a missed opportunity for us to have. It would have been a surprise even for them to defeat Vecna and then realize, hey, the fight is not over.
Yeah.
It just didn't happen.
Yeah. See, that's why I think they kind of rushed that, because I'm thinking the power lies inside the Mind Flayer. Like all the psychic abilities and all of that stuff that go inside people's mind and tap into their fears and stuff. I thought that was coming from the Mind Flayer, not Vecna. But when they got to Dimension X and they're fighting, you don't see any type of like resemblance to that. It's just this big kaiju looking like a spider and attacking them. It's like no type of power being displayed by the Mind Flayer. And that's kind of what makes me feel like, dang, who had the power? You know what I'm saying? Was it Henry or was it the Mind Flayer? Like, now I don't think that they really kind of explained that enough to where people walk away. It's like, okay, I understand the Mind Flayer was all powerful and he gave Henry these powers and it helped him, do all of these things. But it just wasn't fleshed out enough from that, and that's kind of where it falls short. But you got 2 hours and 5 minutes to kind of like flesh all of this stuff out, which is kind of like I'm happy that they ended how they did, but I think they could have went like 10 episodes. I think they could have went 10 episodes just to get it all out, and people really walk away with a sense of clarity, and allow people to be like, okay, I understand exactly what happened, and it wasn't really that for me. It was some holes, man. It was some holes. because I still don't know if the Mind Flayer was all powerful or not. I just feel like maybe he used Henry to become all powerful. Like once he did whatever he wanted him to do, he would have became all powerful and been able to merge worlds and move things with his mind and influence people and all of that stuff. But maybe he didn't get to that point because the gang or whatever ended up stopping him before he became that. So it's still a lot of open-ended questions that we have, but for the most part, it was pretty good. It was pretty well done. But
let me say this. This is actually, when I saw how it was unfolded, in my mind was going a mile a minute, because I was like, okay, they've defeated Vecna. We are going to get a scene at the end of this that tells us that the Mind Flayer is not dead, even though Vecna is dead, and that although they have broken the bridge between the worlds, the Mind Flayer is still alive and in control in Dimension X. That has to be on a cutting room floor somewhere.
Yeah.
At Netflix, because I just knew with the amount of time we were going to get something, and I was going to be like, dang, they didn't kill it completely.
Let's talk about this plan that Kali and L has, right?
Yes, the Suicide Pact.
Suicide Pact, right? So Kali has this plan, right? Because Dr. K wants L. Kali already told L that they try to use her blood to impregnate these women. Not impregnate, but kind of like strengthen the children of the women that were pregnant, basically.
Give them powers.
Give them powers, and it failed, right? Because something in her blood wasn't right. So they needed L. So Kali tells L, when we finish with Henry, our brother, we're going to stay behind in the Upside Down, right? So we get to a point to where Max, L, and Kali are inside Henry's home. They try to move through the high school. We've seen the high school, and they kind of have resemblance of the play where, the guys, Harrington and all of them kind of like going into this play, and they work their way through this maze or whatever through Henry's mind, ends up in the house. They capture the kids. Kali uses her powers to shield them, right? So they can kind of see who Henry is and, reveal to them what was really going on. These damn kids still piss me off, man. But
they had to prove that he was really the monster.
Yeah, he was really the monster. They thought Max was the monster, but she wasn't, right? And we see this. Henry uses his powers to infiltrate L's mind, and he unearths this plan that Kali and L came up with. He uses that against them and shows Hopper, right? This was probably my favorite part. This is like a twist, right? Because he uses Hopper and he shows her this. He shows Hopper this. Elle is planning on killing herself once she's through with me, right? And he starts shooting. He tries to shoot Vecna, and he shoots through the deprivation tank, right? And Hopper's freaking out, right, when he realizes that he shot Elle, and he bang, like trying to break the tank, whatever. Eleanor was like, what's happening? And all of these, the water coming everywhere, and he thinks he shot Elle, man. And I was like, no way, right? It got me, bro. Did it get you?
It got me. I was like, oh my God, I'm gonna have to give y'all, that was good. Yeah, because they had me fooled too.
Yeah, man. But we ultimately found out that Vecna used that to break up their plan, which was genius writing, by the way. That was probably the best piece of writing in this finale, because it took the audience off balance, because they like, damn, did he really just kill Elle? Like what was that? But
talking about, he would have been destroyed.
Yeah. But we come to find out that it was all part of Vecna's plan to kind of disrupt Elle and Kali and Max. So yeah, that was my favorite part. We're moving on, man. Will Byers, the final piece. Will fully embraces his hive mind connection instead of fearing it. For the first time, he uses it offensively. He physically tears one of Vecna's arms off, weakening him and shifting the battle. This completes Will's arc from abducted child to survivor to active defender. The thing that traumatized him for decades become the tool he uses to end it. Will didn't survive the Upside Down. He learned how to fight it. The final blow, Joyce Byers, 11 impales Vecna on a spire inside the Mind Flayer's core, but she can't finish him. Vecna is weakened, stripped of his control, and exposed. Joyce Byers steps in and delivers the final blow. She decapitates Vecna's head with an axe, clean, brutal, and definitive. The moment is framed not as revenge, but as protection. You fuck with the wrong family, she says. The series begins with Joyce hanging Christmas lights to save her son and ends with Joyce ending the Upside Down itself.
Ooh. Let me say something about this real quickly. That scene, I think that has to be, man, I don't know if I want to say best, worst, definitely gory, hurt. I mean, and listen, TV has made us not really understand that decapitation, when they show people being decapitated in one blow, that's TV magic. It is not real.
Right.
You look at history, the bones in the human neck are hard to cut through.
Mm-hmm.
So they showed you in reality when people were beheaded, that it takes multiple hits to behead someone.
Right.
They showed every single bone. I mean,
chop it down the tree.
She chopped that tree. Well, hey, he was made of roots.
Yeah.
She chopped him down. I mean, that head was off. Yeah. They showed it like it would be in real life, and it was gory.
See, this is where the emotional aspect comes in, because as she's chopping the head, right? As she's chopping the head off, you start to see these flashes throughout from previous series, previous episodes, and things like that. And one of the scenes was Eddie, man. Eddie, bro. Eddie Munson dying in Dustin's arms, bro. And I was just like, oh, bro. It just started bringing back all of this stuff, you know. And I was just like, man, it's the way they're tying everything in is beautiful. You just wish that they had more time to kind of like flesh out these minor details that brought you into the story. You know what I'm saying? And
yeah.
Yeah.
Let me add this as well. The people who were watching her do it, and I must give them kudos for this, because I felt like everyone knew that Vecna had to die. They came there to kill Vecna. But because they're good people, the horror of watching someone being beheaded was on their faces.
Yeah.
Because even though this guy has killed so many people, he has hurt so many people, he's destroyed their lives for so long and brought them so much pain and hurt, and then we're seeing that in all these flashbacks. By the same token, the act of his head getting cut off is also horrific.
Yeah.
And man, although that's why I say I don't know best or worst. Worst because of how gory it is, but best because it encapsulates everything. This tension between you're a good person, but when good people are forced into horrible situations, or they have to defend themselves, or they have to kill someone, they may have to do something that's terrible.
Yeah.
Like decapitating something. But it had to be done all at the same time.
Yeah, man. And I feel that as Joyce was chopping his head, everybody was chopping their head. You know what I'm saying? They was watching, as they watching her, they like, I'm doing it too. And they felt that, man. It was just, like you said, it was all over their face, all in their body language. And everybody in that scene did a great job with that part.
Yeah. Joyce Byers has been, she has been a soldier this whole series. As a mom, most of the time they show, like for example, Dustin's mom. Completely useless. Mike's dad, completely useless. Mm-hmm. Man, they wrote Joyce Byers excellent.
Yeah.
She is fighting like a mom would really fight.
Yeah.
Most moms will go 10 toes down and they will do whatever it takes to protect their kids. And that's how I think she's more of a genuine character instead of just being horrified and running away. She's in the fight.
She was in the fight, man.
Yeah.
11 sacrifice. The military returns. Just as the dust settles, Dr. K and the military arrive. Their intent is clear. Restart the experiments using 11's blood. It confirms what the show has already argued. The real danger isn't just the monsters, it's the system. The choice. 11 realizes Vecna wasn't the final cycle. She is. As long as she exists, someone will try to weaponize her. She chooses to disappear with the upside down, removing herself and her blood from the equation forever. It's not martyrdom, it's prevention. The farewell. 11 pulls Mike into the void for one final moment. No speeches, no grand declarations, just a kiss goodbye. Upside Down is destroyed by a bomb triggered by Princess When Doves Cry.
Love that. I was like, oh, y'all got Prince in the background? Okay. Yeah. I see y'all with this finale soundtrack.
It was great. It was great because you know what's funny? Because Mike and Robin were both arguing about what song to play when the bomb go up. Oh, and I guess they had a previous song, but Robin was like, no, that's not the song, right? And he was like, it's a great song. But I wonder if that was a song or if they ended up changing it. If Robin ended up making, Mike change the song. But it was perfect. It was perfect. Man. It was. Love, grief, and release collapse together. He was about to say something.
Okay.
She didn't die fighting monsters. She disappeared to stop the humans. 18 months time skip. May 1989. Hawkins after the war. The military is gone. The town is rebuilding. No more quarantine. No more sirens. Evil didn't end with fireworks. It faded quietly. Where everyone lands. Dustin becomes valedictorian, delivers a defiant speech, flips off the principal in Eddie Munson fashion, and probably wears a Hellfire Live shirt. That was great. Great scene, man. Great scene. Max and Lucas are still together, grounded and healed. Max makes her full recovery. There was a lot of talk about how Max ended up graduating with everybody else. But we got to remember this is 18 months after the fact. So she had time, I guess, to, get her work done and all of that stuff to realistically graduate with the crew. And I don't think Dustin or Lucas would have, just let her stay behind. They was going to be on her side and make sure she walked with everybody else.
Yeah.
So I think that's what that was. Will moves to a big city, finally finding acceptance and happiness without fear. Nancy becomes a reporter for the Boston Herald, choosing truth over comfort. Jonathan attends NYU Film School, turning memory into art. Steve stays behind in Hawkins and becomes a baseball coach and a sex ed teacher, becoming a mentor he never had. Joyce Hopper, get engaged at Enzo's and plan a peaceful life in Montauk. Montauk. That was a beautiful scene. I wonder if that was their first time going to Enzo's or if because they was like trying to get to Enzo's for a while. I don't know if this was the first date at Enzo's or if they've been there before. That would be nice to know.
That's a great question.
Yeah.
I love that scene because of the singers and the lady that was playing the cello. I mean, that was nice. I like that. And plus, we've been wanting them to get together this whole time after she, lost, Bob, and so I think that was a really, really good closure for them.
They both lost a lot.
Too.
Yeah, they lost a lot, so it was good to see them come together and actually get some closure, some type of happiness.
Yes.
Now,
something about the. I mean, it doesn't. The thing with Max graduating, that's not a big deal because I think most definitely you can do summer school, you can do winter break. There's ways to make up time, and especially this time of when this isn't as seemed like there would be opportunities for someone to be able to make up their work. So considering her situation,
yeah, man, for sure. The ambiguous ending. The final D&D game. The original party gathers one last time in the basement. Mike proposes a theory. 11 survived. He believes Kali used an illusion to fake 11's death, while the real 11 escaped through the underground tunnels. Hope is framed as something you choose. Hope is framed as something you choose, not something you prove. Final image. A figure resembling 11 treks through the landscape with 3 waterfalls implied to be Iceland. She looks toward a distant village. No confirmation, no denial, just possibility. Passing of the torch. Holly Willer and her friends begin their own D&D campaign. Mike closes the basement door. The story ends, but imagination continues.
Ooh, that scene.
When he was breaking everything down, Mike was breaking everything down, and you could just see the look on their face. They wasn't just crying in that scene, man. I think it was emotional because they knew like this is it. You know what I'm saying? All 10 years of investment of, growing up together with these kids. I knew, I've been around them. I've grown with them, all of this stuff. I think every emotion that they had, every real emotion was in that scene, man. As they was like putting the books up and all of that stuff. It was just, yeah, man.
That was tough, man. That's what I said before. They leaned hard.
Yeah, on emotion.
Man.
Yeah.
Somebody was cutting some onions when I was watching this, but they definitely, I think, hit a good note here in bringing this to closure, especially because they all were under the impression that Elle had died in the destruction of the Upside Down. So I think there was some happiness for them, but it was bittersweet as well because it's the end for them. I mean, it's kind of filmed as if that's their last D&D game because now they're all, they're high school graduates and all of their lives are about to change. It brings me back to their older siblings because their older siblings made this commitment to come back and spend time with each other. And I thought that was good. I don't know. I felt like the older siblings, and we're talking about Jonathan, Nancy,
Robin and Steve.
Robin and Steve. I don't know. I feel like it hurt them more. Their scene felt a little despondent to me.
Yeah.
Because they had already split up and they were discussing how they were having trouble making connections with people because there is no connection builder like trauma.
Right.
And when you have shared trauma, it builds strong connections with people for good, bad, or ugly reasons. I felt like they were hurt the most. But I feel like maybe this group, the younger group, maybe has an opportunity, hopefully not to make the mistake because it seemed like those 4 older ones all just kind of split up and they didn't stay connected. So we see them make every commitment to get back together every month. So I'm hoping that it isn't the last time that our main group of the younger, those that had just graduated high school, I hope that they don't make that same mistake because I really felt in that scene more sadness.
Yeah.
I felt more sadness for them. I mean, just looking at Jonathan and the way Nancy was, man, she looked unhappy, like for real.
Yeah.
I don't know. What did that scene give you?
I did. I think, I was listening to more so what they said. They said they had friends, they had people kind of around, but it's not the same because who can relate to saving the world multiple times from impending doom? Like you can't replace that type of connection, but you also got to be able to grow from it too. It's kind of like it's a double-edged sword. Like I got to grow from this, but I always have a connection with people that most people will never understand. And how can I really be my authentic self if I'm going through something that people really can't understand? And I think that's the sad part. Like you want to be able to move on, but it's like it's this big hole in your life that you can't even talk about, you can't explain. because even if you did, like nobody would really get it. Yeah. So that reaction that Robin's girlfriend had, thought she was on drugs and all of that stuff. That's most relationships. Like if I tell you what really happened, you think I'm crazy, but this stuff really happened. It's legit, you know.
Yeah.
So, question, and the people, if you're watching this, thank you for watching. And I have a question for y'all. If Stranger Things had to end with one permanent loss, who were you emotionally ready to lose? Because they had a few glimmers, like people were about to die and didn't. You know, who were you ready to lose walking into this?
I'm going to stick with my same answer, which is Hopper.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like Hopper or even Joyce, I would have been prepared to lose because those two characters, as much as the other characters were, down for the cause, I don't think any character on the show was as committed that I know would lay their life down. And so I those two for me.
Yeah, Stranger Thing. I'm trying to find this picture. I'm thinking, I was prepared to lose L, man. Now let's say that Mike's theory is right? Okay. Kylie used her powers of illusion to help Elle escape, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now, that's a good storyline for them to be happy and walk away with some type of closure. But her standing at that gate and watching everybody just, lose their shit and they try to get her and all of this stuff, I was prepared for her to like stay behind. Because once she did that, I was like, I knew it. I knew she was going to die. Because I think I said on the previous episode, I think it's either going to be her, maybe Will. I was prepared for Will, and I agree with you, Hopper, because I felt like he would kind of like risk everything to kind of save her. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, if y'all watching this, man, let me know. Let us know. If y'all could lose anybody, who was y'all prepared to lose? I'm trying to find this picture of the guy, man. One of my favorite scenes was the payoff with the guy that was acting like an asshole the whole time, trying to capture Elle, calling her a freak and all that stuff. He had the scarred face.
Yes.
And she turned that thing on him and made him blow his brains out. I was like, that was satisfying. That was really satisfying. I was wondering if they was going to do something with him.
Oh, yeah, because he was horrible.
He was horrible. Man.
He was horrible. How are you going to let the government make you into a villain? You ain't getting paid enough money.
So currently, this is the longest running episode in Stranger Things history. It's essentially a feature film. The ambiguous ending is praised as poetic by some and labeled as evasive by others. I'm guessing evasive because they didn't kill anybody. A lot of people wanted somebody to die. They was expecting a lot of death in this final episode, and a lot of it didn't like pan out that way. Whether you want that
actually died was Kylie.
Yeah, and that's the one nobody trusted, and she didn't have no ulterior motive at all, no bad motive. I think she was more so looking at making a bigger sacrifice, bigger than her, bigger than Elle. It was kind of like the good of humanity type of sacrifice. So I see that, I see that in her. Now that it's over, I'm like, okay, I understand really where she was. You know what I'm saying? But
but coming out of the blue, no, I didn't trust her. And I mean, I think she made a great sacrifice. Giving herself up, considering. I'm hoping, because of the ambiguous ending, I'm hoping that is how it happened. Because when Mike was realizing that those machines were on and that Elle could not have been using her powers at that time, I think that's the key for me to believe that how it happened is actually how it happened. Now, The thing about the ending is when they were doing these essentially Mike, the storyteller, was giving all of these potential futures. Now, I'm going to assume that all of the features are what actually happened.
Yeah.
Because the show made it seem as if this is what happened. If that's the case, that means Elle is alive.
Mhm.
Mike becomes the writer. Will finds, I think he goes, it looks like he's in New York or a city somewhere like that. And then Max and Lucas are able to fall in love and do their thing. I feel like that's how it meant to close, even though it left the loophole open for this to also not be true. But you come to the conclusion that best fits you. I feel like with the clue about those machines not working is what makes me understand it and feel like how Mike is telling the story is how it actually happened.
Yeah. Walk away a little satisfied with that, man.
Exactly. Did I need an hour of it? No. Did I want more fight from the Mind Flayer? Yes.
Yeah, for sure. All right, man. Let's move on to the Hall of Fame. Cinema Goodness Hall of Fame.
Okay.
So let's talk about the series MVP. If you had to pick the series MVP, the whole series from season 1 to 5, who would you pick MVP?
Okay. So let me ask you this.
Hmm?
The obvious answer to me is L.
Hmm?
Can we take L out of the equation?
Yes.
Okay.
Go ahead. Let's do it.
If I take L out of the equation, it's a tie between Nancy Wheeler and Joyce Byers. And the reason I say that is because they were good at using their wits. When it was time to take action, they took action. And I feel like
Keep talking.
and I feel like that although this does also fit Hop, I feel like there were times where Hopper was hampered by the trauma that he had of losing his daughter and his marriage. So it's going to be, if we remove L, it's going to be one of those two. Because I feel like from their position, they had no powers. They used the wits that they had, and they were always right on. So I hold them in high esteem in the show.
Yeah, for sure. I'm with that. My other pick is Dustin, man. Dustin came through a lot. Even though he was kind of wrong when they was talking about the exotic matter, I think outside of that, he was really the person that kept everybody on track as far as like really understanding what was going on, being prepared for certain situations. So outside of L, my MVP is Dustin, man. I'm gonna rock with that. All right, we got a question while JP is loading up. Is it bad saying I didn't cry one bit when 11 sisters died? She just has a connected character in the show as much as 11. You're right. Extreme 3D, yes, sir. Yeah, man, you're right. I think they set Kylie up to be something special or something like essential, but I think the only reason she was there was to kind of like convince Elle of what she had to do at the end, because without her, she would have let Mike kind of think, like, coerce her to trying to live this life. Even Hopper, like when they was talking at the tank, he was like, you deserve to be happy, you deserve to have family and a daughter and all of this stuff. But she made that tough choice at the end to where she sacrificed her happiness for the happiness of everybody else to move on. But yeah, Kylie was a different character, man. I thought they was gonna have a different type of outlook for her, but it didn't pan out. It didn't pan out.
Yeah, as it pertains to Kylie, I'm gonna say this. I felt like when she was first introduced that she was kind of a throwaway character. And I didn't really know where it was going. And I feel like they tried to bring her in and make her important in the end. But I think I agree with you. Um, I still feel like her character could not have been in the show, and it would not have changed the outcome.
Yeah, for sure. I I think the only reason she was there to kind of encourage Ella to make the right choice. Well, not the right choice, the choice that she made at the end. I think she was there for that, because she really didn't do much, but I guess hide the children from Vecna so they could kind of see who he really was, which isn't a big deal, but I don't know. Yeah, Kylie was one of those characters, kind of like the husband, Wheeler husband. I forget his name, Ted, I think. He was just useless. She was useless. He was useless. All right. So, the unsung hero. If you had to pick the unsung hero, who would you pick?
So, unsung hero. Whew. Oh, man. So, someone that isn't always, you know what? I'm going to say Lucas.
Okay.
And let me say this. Lucas went through a terrible phase.
Uh-huh.
But when he came to his senses, finally, I feel like that he became an integral portion. He was always ready to fight, and even though he made some mistakes in his arc, I feel like he was, extremely important as it pertains to bringing everyone back. I think that everyone in the company in the campaign had an important role, and I feel like even though he had his negative portion in his arc, when it was time for him to come through, he always had that slingshot. He was integral in bringing Max back, staying right there, because I don't think they would have been able to achieve any of this without Max. And him being so dedicated to Max is, to me, it goes unnoticed, but they couldn't have killed Vecna. They couldn't have saved the children. They couldn't have done any of that without him.
Yeah, sure.
I feel like he's an unsung hero. What about you?
I'm going to say Steve Harrington, man. I guess he's kind of, acknowledged as a hero, but, when you get on that list of heroes, he's probably like towards the middle at the bottom. But I think what he was able to do with the kids, with Dustin, allowing Dustin to kind of be there for Dustin, and how he was there for the kids, and he had no type of relationship with any of them, like outside of like being attracted to Nancy. He was just there through the whole thing, man, and that's big of somebody that I have no connection with you, but I'm still gonna protect you like you're my own. And that's like, that was my favorite part about him.
I agree. I love Steve's connection with the kids. Maybe that's why he wanted his own 6 little nuggets.
Yeah.
So that makes sense. And then him becoming a baseball coach makes sense.
Yeah.
So yeah, definitely. And they caught us. We thought he was about to die.
He's gone, man.
They even went to a black screen.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh my God, this Steve Harrington just died.
Yeah. Cinema magic.
They saved him.
Cinema magic. All right, so we got the best arc. Who had the best character arc to you?
Oh gosh. You go first this time.
I'm gonna go with Will, man. Will had the best arc for me. He went from the one that's being taken at the beginning, the very first episode, surviving all of this stuff. He didn't go crazy, which is amazing to me, because I think any child that been through that much stuff will have a obscene amount of trauma. He did for the first episode, first season or two, but he was able to overcome that and become something powerful. And he actually saved Eleven's life, because he was Vecna was about to tear her face off, and Will caught him and helped push him on that spire and actually take care of him. So I would say, for going from somebody that struggled and was kind of like on the outs and all of that to becoming like one of the main players in the final parts of it, Will was like probably had the best arc to me.
Ooh, okay. So best arc. Ooh, gosh. I'm leaning towards Will as well. I have to agree. I think it's Will. I don't feel like 11's arc. I don't really feel like she had much of an arc, actually, to be honest.
Yeah.
I feel like once she got to her power level, she kind of stayed steady. And the story shifted focus more towards Will. I feel like the story was as much about Will as it was about Elle.
Right.
So let me say this. If it's not Will, it's Dustin.
Okay.
If it's not Will, it's Dustin, because the Dustin we started with to the Dustin we ended up with at the end, being such a leader, being, so brave and, willing to, go against norms, not just be afraid and insecure as a nerdy kid. I think he's right there as well.
Yeah. Good old Dustin.
He's one of the leaders of that group.
Yeah.
When it comes to getting things done. And one thing about him, he's not ambivalent. He's not stuck on stuff. Once he figures out, he's kind of driven in that way. So I feel like that was a huge part of his character. So I think it could be Dustin as well.
Yeah. Good one. Most iconic finale moment.
Oh, it's got to be Joyce killing them.
The head. Chopping down the head.
That was the most shocking moment of the entire finale.
Yep. All right, best needle drop. The best needle drop moment. We're going to go with When Doves Cry. When Doves Cry.
Again, the song that he picked initially was terrible. So, yes. Yeah, when I recognized immediately when Prince came on, I was thinking to myself, okay, they dropped some extra money to get rights to this song right here.
Yeah, for sure. All right, cinematic moment, best moment. Somebody said, while we're here, I have so many unanswered questions. Nick, I think a lot of people do. How does Will still have powers? That's a very good question. Do you think Will still has powers?
Ooh. My answer to that is no. Because
they died with Vecna?
I don't think they died with Vecna. I think they died with the Upside Down. Because the only way to be connected is through that bridge. So without the bridge, there's no connection, there's no powers. So I think, and even the impacts of Dimension X and the Upside Down on Hawkins, if you notice, after the bridge is destroyed by the bomb and the exotic matter exploding, even all of the, like where you can see the tentacles and the opening, and you can just see the destroyed building. So you don't see any of the portals at all. And all of those portals were connected, in my mind, to Will be able to access his powers. Yeah. Because he's only able to access his powers when all of that stuff is appearing in the real world. The moment that's gone, his powers are gone.
Yeah, he was connected to the hive mind, right?
Yeah.
Will was connected. He wasn't connected to Vecna. He was connected to the hive mind. So essentially, he was connected to the Mind Flayer.
Yeah, now that's an unanswered question. That is. I will say to you, Nick, that's an unanswered question. Just like we mentioned, as it pertains to the Mind Flayer, whether he survived, did we kill the Mind Flayer? Was that thing pumping up in the ceiling? Was that the heart of the Mind Flayer?
Yeah.
And when we saw it stop pumping, was that the Mind Flayer dead? I mean, first of all, we didn't see a demigorgon in this whole movie.
It wasn't. It was no demigorgon.
So
where did it go?
They're in Dimension X, where these things come from. That's definitely an unanswered question. I'm of the belief that the Mind Flayer is not dead, because if the Mind Flayer is what they described it to be, you can't just kill it by killing Vecna.
Yeah.
So I feel like it survived, in my head canon, making it up as I go in my mind. The show didn't show that. Maybe the play did give us more hints about that, but who knows? I definitely don't think Will still has powers.
So Nick says, yes, Will should be connected to the Mind Flayer. Could still be alive. They also have that spinoff show coming. Ooh.
We shall see.
Another one. What happened to Dr. K? Did she have a relationship to Dr. Brenner? That's a great question, too. I don't know if they answered that. Or if she was just inspired by his work, that's why she knew of Elle and everything, all of the kids and stuff. Maybe she was just a fan of what he did, and tried to replicate that.
True. And I said from the beginning, it was not clear what her motives were. Now, the end of Volume 2 did indicate that her motives were to weaponize these individuals to go against the Soviets.
Yeah.
So they have just been looking for powerful weapons in that fight.
Yeah, for sure. Did Stranger Things end the story, or did they just end people's childhood?
Great question. I mean, honestly, if we're talking from a money perspective, they could continue the story with the new group of kids starting their campaign. Now that our characters are aging out, they could feasibly start with Holly, and they still have Erica too. She's older than them. But, actually, Erica is around their age, right? Holly, or is she a little older than?
I think she's a little older than Holly.
So, okay. Well, right in there.
I think Erica and Derek's sister are the same age, which means that Derek is younger and Holly is around that age.
You're absolutely correct.
You got some more questions, man. Niggas engaging, man. So last big question for you all. Do you believe Mike's ending story?
I said before, I do.
Yeah. We got to believe it, man. We got to choose to believe. Like JP said, we got to choose to believe what we saw on screen is what's actually happening. The story that he had with with Will, Lucas and Max and Dustin and all of them, what we saw is what happened. Because we know that Kylie had that ability to cause illusions, so it's very possible that she helped Elle escape. So we just gotta believe that,
And I will say this: that doesn't mean that the story is finished. If I believe what the story that Mike told, Mike's story is not all encompassing, because there's still all those other questions that his story did not address. His story was about closing the loop, essentially tying all the loose ends with our original campaign group. Yeah. And so I feel like I can agree with that. And I feel like that's what happened. Now, them fully killing the Mind Flayer, I don't think we have an answer on that.
Yeah. See, Extreme 3D. Well, one complaint people have is how easily the Mind Flayer was killed and then had an hour of emotional stuff. Yeah, we talked about that. Like, it was too much emotion towards that tail end of the episode, man. They could have let that go. They could have let that fight go. Yeah. Nick says he don't believe the story that was being said. Elle did say Mike is the only one who could understand. So maybe his creative abilities will allow him to see this in hindsight. Or he would just have to accept that she died and he don't want to do that. So he's making up something. He said that he wanted to be a writer, so he could just be, that's his way of coping with the fact, because we saw her, Mike and Hopper talking and say, you got two roads ahead of you. Either you going to let this take you under and shun people and live in seclusion, and I don't suggest that road, or you could find some type of way to live with it and live the best goddamn life you can. That's basically what he said. And that's maybe what Mike is doing. You know, he's coming up with something that he can live with. You know, that's just one of those open-ended questions, man. I don't know wherever until Mike gets some again. He said he need to find another girlfriend. He does. Once he find, it's gonna take him a while. Cause how can you actually, you know, like how can you replace someone like L, man? You know,
Man, it's gonna be hard.
it's gonna be hard. Somebody say the world, you can't just replace that, man. It's gonna be tough for him.
That trauma bonding is strong.
Yeah, man.
It's like you draw this great stuff, you save the world. I mean, you've accomplished things that people will never be able to say they've accomplished. You've experienced supernatural things that no one will even believe if you told them. And now you have to live a regular life.
Yeah, man.
It's a hole. Those people are going to have a hole in their lives because of it. Because it's like something's missing.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure, man. I would also love to see the Duffer Brothers create new projects outside of Stranger Things. I think they can make a lot of creative stuff. They're very talented, man. I don't know what they're going. It's going to be tough for them to top something like Stranger Things, but I think whatever they create together is going to be gold, man. I think they do very well together. I think they complement each other and make stories really well. Like I said, I don't know. They may just stick with the Stranger Things universe and like go away from the main cast and all the main storyline and do stuff within the whole universe, man. But yeah, I think they very well did. They did a good job. It's great. So, what would you give this series, man? But first of all, first, what would you give the episode? What would you give this the finale? How would you rate it?
Man, I'm gonna rate the finale as 7.
7?
I'm saying 7. I have to say 7.
Okay.
Yeah, 7.
Okay. Yeah.
Let me justify my rating. It's a 7 because of exactly what the comment brought up, what we talked about. I felt like for all of the build-up, for the final villain to be anticlimactic after all of this, it just felt like that part didn't fit, and they did not give enough time to that. So for the finale, I'm gonna give it a 7.
Yeah, I was at an 8, man. I was at 8. Like 2 hours is a long time, and I do think they could have did more with the Mind Flayer and the group at the end. But I think for as much as they had to tie off at the end, I think they did the best that they could without cheapening the end, where you walk away, you feel like you have some type of completion, some type of clarity as a whole, like what's going on with everybody. They had a lot of characters in this final season, a lot going on, and I think they did the best that they could within that 2 hours to kind of like make you feel for the characters, make you identify, and make you understand where they're going. Could have been. I wanted some more fight, some more action. So I understand the 7. The 8 for me is I felt like they did the best that they could in them 2 hours.
Okay.
How about y'all? What would you give this season finale? The finale. What would you give it? What would you rate it? Now, JP, what would you give Stranger Things as a whole, season 1 to 5, all the way through? What would you give it? From where we started to where we ended.
I'm gonna give it an 8.5 overall,
Okay.
and I'm leaning towards 9, but I'm somewhere between 8.5 and 9. I'm high.
Yeah.
on the series overall. I love the. First of all, I have to give kudos, like you were just saying, to the writers. So this is my moment to give them, not just the Duffer Brothers, everyone, because I know these types of endeavors take huge amounts of resources, writing.
Sure.
So the folks that wrote this there's no book, there's no lore necessarily that they had to draw on. They had to create this. Without that as a guiding star, I felt like they did a wonderful job. There are people who have literally 10 books of a series available, and they really just screw up.
Yeah.
Bringing it to the screen. For these folks to not have that to lean on, I have to give them credit and kudos because I enjoyed it from the beginning. There's some things that they did that were like, I guess I would say that they were like the hallmark, the calling card of the show. We see team ups, we see them breaking up with everyone having different responsibilities. We see them bringing nostalgia in. So being able, I mean, I was born in '81, so there's so much nostalgia that you could inject it into my veins. Them calling back to so many different movies, scenes where it's a callback to another movie. I loved all of that. So to me, that's why as a series as a whole, I'm 8.5 tonight.
Yeah. I'm at 8.592. That's a good rating. I'm liking that. Extreme 3D said, I think I enjoyed season 4 more, but I'll give it an 8 also. In my opinion, the first season will always have a special place in my heart. Yeah. I agree.
It's not many that truly can outdo the first. When you get lightning in the bottle the first time, it's hard. It's so hard to replicate.
Yeah.
So I understand your sentiment.
Yeah, for sure. All right, man. 10 years, man. It's over. 10 years invested. Stranger Things ended last night. And it was a hell of a ride, man. It's a hell of a ride. Anything else, JP?
No, man. I hope that you all have enjoyed. Now, our channel is not specifically about Stranger Things. So we are so happy that those of you that are watching live are with us, or if you watch this, if you and me, watch back through and you watch it later on Facebook or YouTube or what have you, or if you listen to us on our podcast. Please leave us a rating. But we talk about all kinds of movies and shows and trailers, and you're going to continue to see content from us. So we're not just about Stranger Things. You'll see us, next week with another video. So come back if you enjoyed it, okay? We appreciate y'all. And I've enjoyed the Stranger Things ride. So, I'm happy we're doing this.
Yeah, man. Good stuff, man. Like you said, we don't just talk about Stranger Things. We talk about all movies, all things related to cinema and Hollywood, all that good stuff. Please like and subscribe to the channel, Lyra Studios. Follow us on all podcast platforms, the Cinema Goodness Podcast. And until next time, you have a light that is out of this world. Let it shine to be the richness that this world deserves. Much love, family. Being rich.
Peace.